Destroy. The huge typhoon completely destroyed the beautiful cityscape in just a few hours. Enjoy. On weekends, he enjoys listening to his favorite music and slowly sipping coffee. Joy. When she heard the news of the birth of her grandchild, her heart was filled with great joy. Toy. As a child, he loved to spend hours playing with wooden toys. Employee. The company introduced a new vacation policy to increase employee satisfaction. Noisy. His room faces the street and is very noisy with the sound of traffic until late at night. Boil. To make tea, first bring the water to a boil in a kettle. Soil. The kids played in the mud and soiled their favorite white t-shirts. Join. He joined a local book club to find more people with common interests. Join. The two rivers join in the center of the city and flow into the sea as a larger river. Cow. On the ranch, a cow is leisurely grazing on the grass in the meadow. How? He explained carefully how to operate the new machine. Now. It is more important to live this moment now to the fullest than to regret the past. Cloudy. The sky was cloudy all day today, and we couldn't see the sun. Power. As a leader, he has great power to lead the team to success. Thousand. About 1,000 residents live quietly in that small village. Thousands. Thousands of fans gathered at the concert venue to catch a glimpse of their favorite singer. Cloud. The mountain peak was covered in thick clouds, and nothing could be seen from below. Crowd. A large crowd had gathered in front of the venue to wait for the famous artist to appear. Loud. He gave a speech in a very loud voice that reached the back row of the venue. Proud. As a father, he feels very proud that his son passed the difficult exam. Down. He walks slowly down the stairs. Mountain. His hobby is climbing steep mountains to enjoy the breathtaking views every vacation. Around. He runs around the park every morning to maintain his health. Found. She founded a new school to realize her ideal education. Round. He had a pleasant dinner with his family around a round table. Surround. The old castle is surrounded by high stone walls and a deep moat to prevent intrusion. Announce. The company plans to announce a smartphone with groundbreaking new features next month. Amount. She makes it a point to save a certain amount of her salary every month. Count. Children count loudly from 1 to 10 when playing hide and seek. About. He began to talk enthusiastically about his future plans. Out. He forgot his keys and was locked out, so he waited outside for a while. Shout. He gave a loud shout to get his friend's attention in the distance. Without. He left the house without eating breakfast because he was in a hurry. Outside. It is warm inside the building, but it is very cold outside with snow falling. Mouth. He was so surprised that he stood still for a while with his mouth open. South. Many tourists travel south during the winter in search of a warmer climate. During his vacation, he took a leisurely trip to the historic city that he had always wanted to visit. Curious. The children stared at the box, curious as to what was inside. Could. If we had more time, we could have solved the problem. Good. He is a very good person who is trusted by those around him. Should. To stay healthy, we should eat a balanced diet every day. Wood. He prepared for the cold winter by chopping wood for the fireplace. Would often go fishing in the nearby river on weekends. Cook. She cooked nutritious meals for her family using fresh ingredients. Look. He combed through job sites looking for a new job. Full. I'm so full I can't eat any more dessert. Sure. He was sure his answer was correct and raised his hand confidently. Surely. With all the preparations we've made, I'm sure the project will be a success. Foot. We decided to stay overnight in a small village at the foot of the mountain. Put. He put the book he had finished reading back on the shelf to return it to its original place. Do. He cleared up the household chores that had piled up over the weekend and was ready to do his new job on Monday. Few. Only a few guests attended the party, and the atmosphere was a little lonely. Grew. The small sapling I planted in my garden grew into a towering tree within a few years. Pursue. He is single-mindedly pursuing his childhood dream of becoming an astronaut. Through. He made his way through the dense forest, pushing his way through the lush vegetation. To. Studies hard every day until late at night in order to realize his dreams for the future. 2. He was very tired, but he had too much work to do to rest. Who? He introduced everyone to the people who made this wonderful project a success. You. He has complete confidence in you to accomplish this difficult task. Zoo. On the weekend, my family and I went to the zoo and enjoyed observing the rare animals. Conclusion. After months of discussion, the team finally came to a final conclusion. Food. In the areas affected by the earthquake, There is a shortage of supplies such as drinking water and food. Include. The price of this tour includes not only accommodation but all meals. Afternoon. He likes to spend his afternoons reading in the quiet library. Noon. Every day at noon he goes for a walk in a nearby park without fail. Soon. He quickly left the room saying, "I'll be back soon." Excuse. He gave a plausible excuse for being late. Transportation disruptions. Introduce. At the party, he introduced the new member to everyone. Root. Plants have roots that go deep into the ground and absorb water and nutrients from them. Move. He decided to move to another city to start a new career. Choose. From among the many options available, he chose the path that best suited his future. Lose. Due to his carelessness, he lost his precious house keys somewhere. Prefer. I tend to prefer tea to coffee. Courage. Sometimes it takes a lot of courage to admit you're wrong. Merchant. He showed a talent for trade at a young age and is now known as a successful merchant. Burden. His large debts have become a huge burden in his life. Encourage. The teacher gently encouraged the student who had lost confidence. Hurry. He hurried to the station so as not to miss the train. Worry. There's no point in worrying too much about the outcome, so all I can do now is do my best. Emergency. It is recommended to stockpile emergency food and water in case of an emergency. Purpose. He decided to embark on a long journey to find his purpose in life. University. He plans to major in engineering at university and hopes to become an engineer in the future. Person. He is a very honest person and hates lying more than anything. Personal. This is my personal opinion and does not represent the company's. Thirsty. He had been walking in the scorching heat and was extremely thirsty. Certain. I am certain that he will play an important role in this project. Certainly. Can you help me? Yes, certainly. Dirty. The kids played in the mud and got their favorite clothes completely dirty. Nervous. He seemed a little nervous before his first big performance. Search. He searched every nook and cranny of the room to find the missing key. Heard. He heard a faint rumble of thunder in the distance, so he closed the window. Word. He is a man who values his word and always keeps the promises he makes. Work. He takes pride in his work and is unwilling to compromise on even the smallest details. Burn. The campfire burned brightly, illuminating the surrounding area with warmth. Learn. He takes programming classes on weekends to learn new skills. Turn. Turn left at the corner and you'll see a large park in front of you. Concerned. His parents are very concerned about his poor health recently. First. The moment he scored his first goal, the stadium erupted in jubilation. Hurt. He fell while exercising and hurt his leg, making it difficult for him to walk. Earth. Seen from space, the Earth shone beautifully blue in the darkness. Worth. This painting is said to be worth several hundred million yen. Earthquake. The area is preparing for a major earthquake that is expected to occur in the future. Although the plan was risky, they decided to go ahead with it. Below. The basement is located below ground level and is cool even in summer. Blow. A strong wind is blowing, causing the trees lining the road to sway violently. Go. He decided to go overseas in search of new opportunities. Grow. In the spring, the tulip bulbs planted in the garden begin to grow rapidly. No. He is the only person who knows the solution to the problem. Low. The area is at a low elevation and is prone to flooding when heavy rain falls. No. He gave a clear no to the proposal. Row. He rowed his boat towards a small island on the other side of the lake. Show. He invited his friends over for dinner over the weekend to show them his new house. So. It was so cold outside that he decided to put on a heavy coat and go out. Though he was feeling unwell, but he still managed to finish the job. Poem. Wrote down a short poem for his loved one, expressing his honest feelings. Poet. He is attracting attention as a young genius poet who expresses the beauty of nature with his unique sensibility. Local. When I travel, I enjoy exploring local markets that aren't listed in guidebooks. Focus. The focus of the meeting was narrowed down to next year's budget proposal, and specific discussions were held. Holy. The mountain has long been revered as a holy place, and many pilgrims visit it. Moment. The moment he saw the beautiful scenery, he was so moved that he was at a loss for words. Donate. He donated some of the money he had saved over the years to help underprivileged children. Ocean. The ship sailed across the vast ocean for several weeks before finally arriving at its destination port. Notice. There was a notice posted on the bulletin board announcing that the entire facility would be closed next Monday. Protest. Thousands of citizens opposed to the proposed tax increase held a massive protest in front of City Hall. Over. The storm passed over in a few hours, and a rainbow appeared in the sky. Overseas. To broaden his business horizons, he decided to get an MBA from a university overseas. Road. This old road is a historic route that was once traveled by many merchants. Clothes. He picked out the cleanest clothes from his closet in preparation for his interview tomorrow. Spoke. He noticed that one of the spokes on his bicycle was broken. Coal. Old steam locomotives ran powerfully on large amounts of coal. Hole. There is a fence around the area to prevent people from falling into a deep hole dug in the ground. Hole. He was so hungry that he ate a whole big pizza. Shoulder. He set off on his long journey with a heavy backpack on both shoulders. Cold. As the cold winter wind blew, he continued walking with the collar of his coat turned up. Fold. He carefully folded the letter into thirds and placed it in an envelope. Hold. She held on tightly with both hands to avoid breaking her precious treasure. Sold. The limited edition watches were all sold out within just a few hours of being released. Known. He is a world-famous architect who has designed many innovative buildings. Own. He dreams of one day owning his own company, and is currently training diligently. Only. Only person who knows the secret. Hope. No matter how difficult the situation, it is important to keep trying and not give up hope until the very end. Hopeful. Although the situation is tough, the entire team remains hopeful and positive about winning. Most of the participants were in favor of the new project approach. Note. To avoid forgetting, I took notes the important points of the meeting in my notepad. Both. She can speak both English and French fluently. Growth. The economic growth of the region has been fueled by the attraction of new factories. Drove. As soon as he got his new car, he drove down to the coast for the weekend. Rose. When she entered the room, the guests all rose from their seats in reverence. Those documents on the desk are scheduled to be distributed at tomorrow's meeting. Draw. She draws landscapes in her notebook every day for her future dream. Law. To protect the safety of citizens, everyone must equally obey the law. Officer. The police officer gave a stern warning to the driver, who committed a traffic violation. Often. He likes reading and often goes to the library on weekends to look for new books. Wallet. When he tried to pay at the register, He realized he had left his wallet at home. Foreign. He likes to travel alone to foreign lands to experience new cultures. Horror. Hearing the terribly tragic news, he was speechless with horror. Boring. The movie's content was so boring that he fell asleep halfway through. Daughter. His daughter is gifted in piano and won an international competition. Lawyer. He decided to consult an experienced lawyer to resolve the complex legal issues. Abroad. He decided to work abroad starting next year to gain experience in international business. Off. He made sure to turn all the light switches off before going out. Talk. They spent hours in the cafe talking about their future dreams and recent events. Walk. He walks in a nearby park for 30 minutes every morning before work for his health. All. The meeting started on time once all the participants had gathered. Call. He noticed his friend in the distance and called his name loudly. Fall. The leaves of the trees in the park are changing color, signaling the arrival of fall. Hall. Many spectators flocked to the massive concert hall even before the performance began. Tall. He is the tallest in his class and plays as the star of the basketball club. Wall. He carefully pasted a poster of his favorite artist on the wall of his room. Almost. The construction is progressing well, and almost all of the planned schedule has been completed. Also. He speaks English fluently but is also proficient in French and German. Always. No matter how busy she is, she always remembers to thank the people around her. Salt. A small amount of salt was added at the end to enhance the flavor of the dish. Along. They walked slowly along the quiet shoreline while listening to the sound of the waves. Belong. He is proud to belong to this team and works hard every day. Long. Years have passed since he left his hometown, and he longs to be reunited with his family. Strong. He achieved a strong physique that surpassed anyone's through daily rigorous training. Wrong. He admitted that his judgment was wrong and apologized. 4. He is working hard for the future of his family. More. He is not satisfied with the current situation and is striving to absorb more knowledge. Or. For lunch you can choose either pasta or a sandwich. Store. He stores food and water in his garage in case of an emergency. War. The history textbook records the horrific war that once took place in this region. Your. Is this your umbrella? Or does it belong to someone else? Fortunately, the car was badly wrecked, but fortunately, the driver escaped uninjured. Ordinary. He is not particularly gifted. He is just an ordinary young man found anywhere. Border. Near the border between the two countries, guards are patrolling 24 hours a day. Order. The library staff returned the returned books to the shelves in the correct order. According. The plan is moving according to schedule, and there are no delays so far. Important. He considers spending time with his family the most important thing in his life. Quarter. He quartered the apple and shared it with the children. Forward. He courageously stepped forward and voiced his opinion. Award. In recognition of her years of contribution to science, she was presented with a prestigious international award. Born. She was born into a musical family and showed her talent from a young age. Warn. The teacher repeatedly warned the students that the rising river was dangerous. Horse. His hobby is going to a ranch on holidays and riding a horse across the grasslands. Import. This country relies heavily on imports from overseas for much of its food. Port. Huge cargo ships from all over the world gather at that natural port. Sort. He sorted the pile of documents by type, picking out only the important ones. Support. Thanks to the support of many volunteers, the event was a success. Transport. With the development of logistics networks, fresh vegetables can now be transported to the market quickly. North. They took advantage of the long holiday to travel to the North region, where abundant nature remains. Loss. The company suffered a huge financial loss due to the failure of the new product. Lost. He got lost while traveling and became completely disoriented about where he was. Thought. He remained silent for a while, lost in deep thought about his future. Cloth. She spread out a beautifully embroidered cloth to decorate the dining table. Because. He went out with an umbrella because it was raining. Trouble. He was having trouble understanding how to operate the computer, so I helped him. Suddenly. The clear sky suddenly turned dark, and a heavy thunderstorm began. Studied. His manner was very polite, but it gave off a somewhat studied impression. Another. These shoes didn't fit, so I asked the clerk if they had another size. Other. He decided to carefully consider other options, not just one method. Lullaby. The baby fell into a peaceful sleep while listening to the lullaby sung quietly by the mother. Color. In autumn, the mountain trees beautifully change color to red and yellow. Summer. The long-awaited summer vacation has begun, and the children are excited to plan a trip to the sea. Honey. He drank warm tea with plenty of honey to soothe his sore throat. Customer. The clerk greeted the customer with a smile and carefully explained the features of the new product. Custom. An old custom of offering a dance of gratitude during the harvest season remains in that land. Discussion. A lively discussion was held among all members to decide the direction of the new project. Discover. He discovered a highly valuable historical first edition at a second-hand bookstore he happened to stop by. Government. The national government decided to introduce new economic measures to curb inflation. Cousin. At the new year, relatives gathered and he met his cousins for the first time in a long while. Such. I had never seen such a beautiful sunset in my life. Touch. The sculpture is very delicate, so you must never touch it with your bare hands. Blood. At the scene of the accident, there were traces of blood on the road surface, telling of the violent collision. Enough. He was able to save enough money to travel around the world. Tough. By enduring rigorous training, he became tough both mentally and physically. Judge. The judge carefully reviewed the evidence presented and delivered the final verdict. Luck. He was in a tough situation, but in the end he had the luck to escape the crisis. Instruction. He followed the clear instructions from his boss and completed the project without delay. Culture. One of the joys of visiting a foreign land is experiencing its unique and rich culture. Result. As a result of rigorous training, he succeeded in breaking his personal best record. Become. After rigorous training, he finally became the professional chef he had admired. From. He received a letter from a distant foreign country and fondly remembered his old friend. Comfortable. The sofa in the hotel lobby was very comfortable, making the wait time no trouble at all. Uncomfortable. Since he didn't know anyone at the party, he felt uncomfortable the entire time. Somehow. With very little time left until the deadline, he somehow managed to finish all the work. Company. He works desperately every day to fulfill his big dream of starting his own company. Someone. He heard the footsteps of someone approaching from across the room and tensed up. Somewhere. He misplaced his keys somewhere and has been searching the whole house frantically since morning. Fun. Going to the amusement park with friends on the weekend is the most fun time for him. 1. There were many apples in the box, but he chose the biggest one. Run. He runs in a nearby park for 30 minutes every morning before work for his health. Sun. His son started following in his father's footsteps as an engineer after graduating from university. Sun. The sun peeked through the clouds, easing the freezing cold. 1. His daily efforts paid off, and he finally won the long-awaited national championship. Wonder. Looking up at the countless stars shining in the night sky, I feel a sense of wonder at the vastness of the universe. 100. Several hundred years have already passed since that historical building was completed. Country. He decided to leave the bustle of the city and live quietly in the nature-rich countryside. Countryside. Tired of the hustle and bustle of the city, he refreshed himself by spending the weekend in the quiet countryside. Once. He did his best not to miss a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Once. He did his best not to miss a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Front. He put on a brave front in public to hide his fear. Monthly. The magazine is published monthly and provides the latest fashion information. Hungry. He hadn't eaten anything since morning, so he was very hungry by dinner time. Functional. The design is not only beautiful to look at but also very functional, with usability in mind. He plucked up the courage to step up and take action himself to seize a new opportunity. Bus. He commutes to work by bus every day and spends the time inside reading. Discuss. The entire team gathered to discuss the budget for the next project in detail. Just. He arrived at the station at just 12 o'clock and was able to catch the train as scheduled. Trust. In order to build good human relationships, it is essential to have deep trust between each other. Brush. Before going out, he carefully brushed the dust off his suit. But he did his best, but unfortunately, he was unable to achieve his goal. Cut. He proposed to cut the budget by 20% for the new project. What? He was so surprised that he couldn't believe what he had just seen. Above. The view from the summit spread out above the clouds and was breathtakingly beautiful. Love. He shows his deep love for his family through his daily actions. Of. The desk is made of high-grade oak and is very sturdy. Husband. Her husband works as an engineer, and they enjoy gardening together on weekends. Agree. They had many discussions and finally agreed on a budget for the new project. B. Being honest and being authentic is the first step to building trust. Disagree. I disagree with his opinion, but I appreciate his enthusiasm. Free. At the event, the first 100 people were given free original stickers. C. When I looked out the window, The mountains in the distance were shining red in the light of the setting sun. Theater. Over the weekend, we went to a large theater in town to see a hot new movie. Museum. Over the weekend, we visited the National Museum, which displays ancient Egyptian artifacts. Neither. Neither of the two proposals presented met my expectations. Illegal. Capturing wild animals without permission is an illegal act that is strictly prohibited by law. Being. Humans are social beings and cannot survive without interacting with others. Ecosystem. Even a slight change in the environment can disrupt the complex ecosystem of the entire forest. Secret. He never revealed the secret to the project's success to anyone. Realize. He finally realized his lifelong dream of owning his own home. Meaning. Scientists are trying to figure out the true meaning of this ancient symbol. Convenient. A new supermarket has opened right next to the station, making it very convenient to go shopping. Senior. He is one of the most experienced senior managers in the company. People. There are many people living all over the world with a wide variety of cultures and languages. Sleepy. After lunch, when I'm basking in the warm sunlight, I suddenly feel sleepy. Recently. I recently started a new hobby, mountain climbing on weekends. Resource. Recycling is essential to conserve the Earth's limited natural resources. Researcher. She is a prominent researcher investigating the impacts of climate change on marine ecosystems. Species. It is said that there are many unknown species that have yet to be discovered in the Amazon rainforest. Even. He has a very calm personality and maintains an even mental state in any emergency. Reason. The reason he was late for the meeting was because he got caught in an unexpected traffic jam. Season. Japan has 4 seasons, and you can enjoy beautiful scenery in each season. Each. The teacher gave individual advice to each student. Reach. He stretched his arm to reach for the dictionary that was high up on the bookshelf. Teach. Since retiring, he has been passionate about teaching mathematics to young people at a local university. Breed. The farm is raising a new breed of sheep that is more resistant to the cold. Indeed. His plan was very bold, but it really had the potential to succeed. Need. He tried to meet the needs of his friends in need as best he could. Succeed. He put in a lot of effort and finally succeeded as a global entrepreneur. Leaf. In autumn, the leaves of the trees turn red and yellow, beautifully decorating the ground. Speak. He spoke passionately to a large audience about the importance of protecting the environment. Weak. His legs became weak from the long hours of exercise and he could barely walk. Weekend. He often goes camping with his family on weekends to relieve the fatigue of the weekdays. Weekends. He enjoys going on weekend drives with his family to the countryside. Weekly. The magazine is published weekly and brings you the latest news. Feel. He felt the cold wind on his skin and realized that winter was coming. Steal. Unable to bear the hunger, he stole an apple from a market stall. Field. As an agricultural expert, he spends his days out in the vast fields observing the growth of crops. Seem. Seems scary at first glance, but he's actually a very kind person. Steam. Pure white steam rose vigorously from the kettle, signaling that the water was boiling. Between. A beautiful stream flows between the two villages. Clean. On weekends, she cleans the whole house to refresh herself. Mean. To understand the true meaning of the word, you need to consider the context. Asleep. He was reading a book on the sofa and before he knew it, he was asleep. Cheap. This store offers high-quality clothing at very cheap prices. Keep. He tries to eat a balanced diet every day to stay healthy. Increase. The new marketing strategy has been successful, and sales have been steadily increasing. Peace. After a long period of conflict, peace has finally returned to the border area. Peace. He finally put the last piece of the puzzle into place and completed it. Police. To ensure the safety of citizens, the police patrol the city. Release. The film production company announced that it will release its highly anticipated new film worldwide next month. Peaceful. The quiet morning by the lake was very peaceful, with the only sound being the chirping of birds. East. The sun rises in the east every morning and sets in the western sky. Least. He finds time in his busy schedule to go to the gym at least once a week. Eat. In order to stay healthy, it is essential to eat a nutritionally balanced diet. Heat. To beat the harsh summer heat, many people head to the sea or the mountains. Meat. To stay healthy, he is trying to eat less meat and more vegetables. Meet. We decided to meet at a cafe in front of the station to discuss the details of our new project. Believe. She believes that no matter how difficult the situation, hard work will always pay off. Leave. He decided to leave the company he had worked for many years to start a new career. Receive. On her birthday, she received a thoughtful gift from a friend who lives overseas. Disease. Scientists are constantly researching new treatments for this seemingly incurable disease. Pleased. He is very pleased that his new house turned out just as he wanted. I am a student. Apply. She applied to a famous university to fulfill her dream. Buy. He stood in line in front of the store since morning to buy the latest smartphone. Buy. The report must be submitted by 5 p.m. on Friday. Cry. The ending of the movie was so sad that he couldn't help but cry. Die. The old tree died, unable to withstand the severe winter cold. High. The airplane is flying at a very high altitude above the clouds. Lie. He told an obvious lie to escape responsibility. Supply. The company supplies high-quality parts to markets all over the world. Tie. He carefully tied his necktie in front of the mirror to match his new suit. Try. It is important to try new things many times without being afraid of failure. Why? She couldn't understand why he was so angry. Violence. We must not condone solutions involving violence for any reason. Scientist. Many scientists are researching new technologies to curb climate change. Science. He majored in natural science at university to unravel the mysteries of the universe. Quiet. The library was very quiet, providing an environment where one could concentrate on study. Quietly. Since the baby was sleeping, he left the room quietly to avoid making any noise. Library. He goes to the library every day to concentrate on his studies in a quiet environment. Friday. On Friday nights he takes a long soak in the bath to relieve the week's fatigue. Fire. On the night of the camp, they sang songs around the fire. Fired. He was finally fired from his company due to repeated tardiness. Tired. He walked around all day, so his legs were very tired. Iron. He carefully smoothed out his wrinkled shirt with a hot iron. Island. The beautiful island is popular with tourists who come for the blue sea and rich nature. Silent. The entire venue was enveloped in a deep, silent atmosphere as everyone waited for the next words. Climate. Climate change on a global scale has become a serious environmental problem in recent years. Finally, after years of research, he finally succeeded in developing a new drug. Tiny. Using a microscope, you can observe tiny microbes that are invisible to the naked eye. Environment. A safe and rich educational environment is essential for children to grow up healthily. Excited. The children are very excited, imagining the trip to the amusement park starting tomorrow. Title. The title of the book is simple, but it attracted the interest of many readers. Exciting. The comeback in the final match was an exciting moment for all the spectators in the stadium. Survival. In the harsh wilderness, securing food and water is the top priority for survival. Horizon. The sun began to rise slowly from the horizon over the sea, staining the sky red. Surprisingly. I heard the exam was very difficult, but the results were surprisingly good. Beside. She sat beside her sick friend and nursed him all night long. Decide. He chose to decide his own path at a major turning point in his life. Ride. He likes to ride his bicycle along the coast on a sunny day. Side. He must make a careful decision about which side to take. Wide. He opened his eyes wide to get a good look at the opposite bank of the river. Sidewalk. For safety, he avoided the roadway and walked toward the station on the well-maintained sidewalk. Besides. He can speak Spanish and French besides English. Wife. He reserved her favorite restaurant to celebrate his wife's birthday. Dislike. He has always struggled with crowds and strongly dislikes noisy places in the city. Like. He looks very much like his father and like him enjoys playing sports. Likely. It is likely to rain this afternoon as the clouds have become thick. Smile. Her bright smile always cheers up the people around her. While. He checked his schedule for the day while drinking coffee. Climb. He climbed the steep rock wall carefully step by step. Time. He made a detailed plan to use his limited time effectively. Sometimes. He is usually very quiet, but sometimes he speaks his mind passionately. Design. She designed new furniture that combines both usability and beauty. Sign. He signed his name at the end of the document to make the contract official. Behind. He was in a hurry and left his important documents behind on the desk. Blind. He has been blind since birth but is blessed with a talent for music. Find. He finally found the keys he thought he had lost deep in his coat pocket. Kind. He has a very kind personality and cannot leave people in trouble alone. Mind. He organized the situation in his mind before making a decision. Wind. A strong wind is blowing, and the trees in the garden are swaying violently. Advice. He followed his mentor's advice and decided to specialize in international law. Device. A smartphone is a versatile device that can be used for communication and entertainment. Price. The price of the product rose sharply as the balance between supply and demand collapsed. Twice. He checked the calculations twice to ensure there were no errors. Bright. Bright sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating the room. Fight. He continued to fight until the end, even in difficult situations, to defend his beliefs. Flight. Our scheduled flight was cancelled due to bad weather. Invite. She invited her close friends to her birthday party. Quite. His new house was quite larger than he had imagined. Right. He thought carefully to find the right path he should follow. Sight. The view from the summit was a sight more magnificent than anything I had ever seen. Site. This location is the site plan for the construction of a new library. Tonight. He is looking forward to reuniting with his friends at the party tonight. Right. He wrote down the key points of today's meeting in his notebook so he wouldn't forget them. Tightly. She held the box containing her precious treasures tightly so as not to give it to anyone. Rights. Everyone has basic human rights to enjoy freedom and equality. Arrive. Although the flight was delayed, he managed to arrive by the start time of the meeting. Drive. He commutes to work by car, driving for an hour every morning. Live. After graduating from university, he is living alone in the center of London. Survive. He survived the harsh environment in the desert and miraculously made it out alive. Prize. He was recognized for his many years of research and won a globally prestigious prize. Rise. The sun slowly rose in the eastern sky, and a new day began. Away. He took a vacation and traveled far away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Famous. The old castle is world famous for its beautiful gardens and historical value. Sustainable. In order to protect the environment, there is an urgent need to switch to sustainable energy sources. Eraser. I erased the mistakes I made with the eraser attached to the end of the pencil. Discrimination. Eliminating unfair discrimination based on race and gender is a responsibility of modern society. Evacuation. Evacuation advisories have been issued to coastal residents as a powerful typhoon approaches. Graduation. He is set to get a job at a local company after graduation. Information. The internet is overflowing with a huge amount of information. Relation. He and I have a deeper relationship than just being coworkers. Station. Every morning, he takes the nearest subway station to work. Vacation. He left his busy daily life behind and spent a week on vacation on a southern island. Latest. He is always up to date with the latest fashions and is very sensitive to trends. Favorite. Of all the books he has, this old adventure novel is his favorite. Railway. This railway, which runs through mountainous areas, is famous for the beautiful scenery it offers from the windows. Brain. He has an extremely clear brain that can perform complex calculations instantly. Complain. Even when he was dissatisfied, he never complained and continued working silently. Crane. At the construction site, a huge crane was lifting heavy materials. Explain. The teacher used diagrams to clearly explain how light refracts. Pain. He hit his knee hard when he fell and felt a sharp pain. Dangerous. The old bridge is in danger of collapsing, making it very dangerous to cross. Endangered. Efforts to protect endangered animals continue. Date. He wrote a date on his calendar for a reunion with a dear friend. Debate. There was a fierce debate in Congress over the new tax proposal. Late. He is so engrossed in his work that he often stays in the office late into the night. Relate. He skillfully related his experiences into a story that anyone could relate to. Straight. Without any hesitation, she looked straight at the other person. Wait. She sat on a bench at the station and quietly waited for her friend to arrive. Raw. He felt a strong sting in his mouth because he ate raw onions. Probably. The sky looks suspicious this afternoon, so it will probably rain. Problem. It took me 30 minutes to solve the difficult math problem at the end of the test. Modern. The museum is characterized by a very modern design combining glass and steel frames. Audience. When the concert ended, the audience stood up and gave generous applause for the wonderful performance. Bother. When I'm focusing on work, I don't want anyone to bother me. Progress. With the development of new technologies, the field of medicine is making progress at an incredible speed. Colony. A colony of ants is building a complex nest underground, centered around the queen. College. He went on to college to learn specialized knowledge to become an engineer in the future. Common. A cold is a very common illness, but care is needed as it can worsen if left untreated. Promise. He visited the village again 3 years later to fulfill his promise that he would definitely come back. Honest. He is an honest person who admits his mistakes, and he is highly trusted by those around him. Electronic. In modern business, electronic communication methods such as email are indispensable. Popular. This cafe's pancakes went viral on social media and are very popular among young people. Borrow. I forgot my dictionary at home, so I decided to borrow one from my friend in the next seat for just an hour. Possible. Depending on your effort, it is entirely possible to achieve a goal that seemed impossible. Fossil. The geological research team discovered a fossil of a giant fish from hundreds of millions of years ago in the strata. Awesome. The vast view of the Grand Canyon spreading out before my eyes was truly awesome. Watch. He looked at his wristwatch many times, waiting for the person he was meeting to arrive. God. Ancient people believed that a god of rain and thunder lived in the sky. Clock. The clock hanging on the wall of the room pointed exactly to 12 o'clock noon. Dioxide. During photosynthesis, plants absorb the carbon dioxide that we exhale. Doctor. I'm not feeling well, so I plan to see a local doctor tomorrow. Solve. He succeeded in solving a very difficult math problem on his own after spending many hours. Bomb. The old building suffered catastrophic damage from a bomb drop during the war. Calm. After the storm passed, the sea was surprisingly calm, reflecting the sky like a mirror. On. He picked up the dictionary on the desk and began to look up the meaning of a difficult word. Responsible. As the leader of the team, he is in a responsible position for the success or failure of the project. Beyond. A beautiful lake that I have never seen lies beyond that mountain. Pond. A few goldfish are swimming peacefully in the small pond in the garden. Drop. He carelessly dropped his precious smartphone on the ground. Shop. It's my routine to go to my favorite boutique shop on weekends to look for new clothes. Top. His years of effort paid off and he finally climbed to the top of the industry. Car. I went for a drive to the sea with my family on the weekend in our new car. Far. It takes 30 minutes to walk from my house to the station, which is a bit too far for a child. Star. Looking up at the night sky, countless stars were shining like diamonds. Carbon. Reducing carbon dioxide emissions is a global challenge to prevent global warming. Barber. My hair had grown long, so I went to the local barber to get a clean cut. Garden. My pleasure on weekends is to tend to the garden and plant seasonal flowers. Market. On weekend mornings, I went to the local open market in search of fresh vegetables and fruit. Parking. The shopping mall was very crowded on the weekend, and I had trouble finding a parking space. Farmer. A local farmer delivered some freshly picked vegetables to us. Army. A large army continues to train in order to protect the borders. Party. I invited my friends over for a home party this weekend and we talked until late at night. Hard. This problem is very hard, and nobody in the class could solve it. Charge. After eating at the restaurant, I paid an additional charge as a service fee. Large. The park has a large grassy area where children can run around. Arm. He used his muscular arms to the fullest to carry the heavy luggage. Art. She has shown a talent for art since she was a child and is now a successful famous painter. Heart. Even when facing difficulties, he never lost heart and kept trying until the end. Part. This component is one of the most important parts for maintaining engine performance. Hospital. He complained of severe abdominal pain and was rushed to a nearby general hospital by ambulance. Cost. Latest smartphones are very convenient, but the cost is also quite high accordingly. Wash. He washes his hands before meals and always tries to stay clean. Lot. A new library is planned to be built on that vast lot in the future. Not. He didn't get the result he expected and looked discouraged, shaking his head. Not. Lots. He won lots of prize money in the lottery and went on a round-the-world trip, his long-time dream. Habit. He has made it a long-time habit to wake up early every morning and go jogging. Establish. He succeeded in establishing his own company, which had been his long-time dream. Statue. A giant bronze statue honoring the city's founder stands in the center of the park. Address. In his speech, he addressed the serious problems facing the local community. Rather. I would rather live in the quiet countryside than in the city. Magazine. He buys a specific magazine every month to get the latest fashion information. Imagine. Close your eyes and try to imagine yourself surrounded by a white sandy beach and blue sea. Graduate. After graduating from university, he started an internship at an overseas company. Salad. For health, I make it a point to eat a salad with fresh lettuce and tomatoes at every meal. Palace. Around the magnificent palace where the royal family lives, gardens with beautiful fountains stretch out. Valley. In the deep valley surrounded by mountains, there is a small river with crystal clear water. Manager. As the project manager, she constantly keeps track of the team's progress. Planet. Earth is the only planet in the solar system confirmed to support life. Capital. London is the capital of the United Kingdom, and the center of politics and the economy. Rapidly. Due to economic globalization, world markets continue to change rapidly. Happen. Something no one could have predicted happened, forcing a major change in the plan. Unhappy. He feels very unhappy in his current work environment, where he cannot fully demonstrate his abilities. Happiness. Having been able to open his own shop, which was his long-time dream, he now feels the greatest happiness. Carry. He carried the heavy luggage by himself and climbed the stairs to the third-floor room. Arrow. He drew the bow with all his might and released a sharp arrow toward the target. Disaster. The massive typhoon that struck the region caused a catastrophic disaster to the infrastructure. Fantastic. The night view from the observation deck was fantastic beyond words. Plastic. Plastic materials can be molded into any shape by applying heat. International. He studies languages hard every day, dreaming of playing an active role on the international stage. National. As a representative of his country, he challenged the international competition with national pride. Satisfy. The food at the new restaurant exceeded expectations in both taste and portion, fully satisfying the customers. Satisfied. He is fully satisfied with the conditions of his new job and works with motivation every day. Matter. No matter how small the issue, examining it without overlooking anything is the key to success. Saturday. He finishes a week's worth of shopping on Saturday mornings and relaxes in the afternoon. Travel. He travels all over the world during his vacations to experience new cultures. Average. The temperature this winter was much colder than the annual average. Absent. He was absent from yesterday's meeting due to illness but returned in good health today. Match. He carefully chose the color of his tie to match his outfit for today. Glad. He looked truly glad to be able to see his best friend after a long time. Sad. He had a very sad look on his face because the trip he was looking forward to was cancelled. Laugh. Everyone in the venue couldn't help but laugh out loud at his humorous joke. After the movie ended, I discussed my impressions with a friend at a nearby cafe. Bag. He packed his travel essentials into a large duffel bag and left the house. Back. With strong backing from his friends, he decided to start a new business. Actually, he looked unconfident, but actually he was a very highly capable person. Accident. You must be very careful about car accidents on rainy days because the road surface is slippery. Practice. To improve at the piano, practicing every day without fail is more important than anything else. Factory. At this factory, precise electronic components are produced around the clock using the latest robots. Tax. The government decided to raise the tax imposed on consumers to maintain public services. Fact. To judge whether his claim is correct, we first need to verify the objective facts. Example. He presented his own failure as an example for his juniors to avoid repeating the same mistake. He declared that he would not allow an exception to the plan. Ban. The government enacted a law to completely ban smoking in public places. Plan. He made a big plan to work abroad in the future and started saving money to prepare. Then. There is clearly more snowfall this winter than in average years. Handle. You must handle this fragile vase with extreme care when moving it. Answer. She gave a precise answer to the difficult question without being flustered at all. Cancer. With advances in modern medicine, cancer, once considered incurable, can now be treated if detected early. Branch. A branch of the large tree in the park broke and fell onto the road during last night's gale. Hand. He wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty and immersed himself in the work, becoming covered in mud. Land. When the plane safely landed at the destination airport, a round of applause broke out from the passengers. Stand. To uphold his beliefs, he took a firm stand without fearing criticism from those around him. Understand. He read the textbook over and over to deeply understand the meaning of the complex mathematical formula. Grandfather. My grandfather makes it a daily routine to wake up early every morning and tend to the garden. Grandmother. I think the apple pie my grandmother makes is the most delicious in the world. Advance. The advance of technology has made surgeries that were once impossible now feasible. Plant. He decided to plant new flower seedlings with the arrival of spring to enrich his garden. Angry. He felt an uncontrollable angry emotion because his efforts were not recognized at all. Language. To deeply understand a foreign culture, one should first learn the language spoken in that country. Bank. I sat on the bank of the river and got lost in thought while watching the water flow. Map. When traveling in an unfamiliar place, a map app on your smartphone is essential. Wrap. She carefully wrapped the fragile items in newspaper before putting them in the box. Capture. The photographer brilliantly captured the moment a wild lion aimed for its prey. Perhaps. Perhaps it will rain tomorrow, so you should take an umbrella with you. Gas. I always check if the gas in the kitchen is turned off before going to bed. Grass. It's wonderful to lie down on the soft grass in the park and look at the sky on a sunny afternoon. Pass. The only pass to cross the mountain range is closed by snow during the winter. Ask. He got lost, so he asked a passerby for directions to the nearest station. Fast. He fasted from sunrise to sunset as part of a religious observance. Last. These shoes are very durably made and will last for several years even with intense exercise. Past. He reflected deeply on his past mistakes and pledged to live honestly from now on. He made an appointment to meet his friend at the station ticket gate exactly at noon. Cat. My cat loves to curl up and sleep on the sunny windowsill. Flat. The area had no undulations, and flat land stretched out as far as the eye could see. Hat. To avoid the strong sunlight, he went out wearing a wide-brimmed hat low over his eyes. That. He spoke passionately about how that book was the one that changed his life. Math. He is good at dealing with numbers and wants to major in advanced math at university. Have. He has a big dream of having his own farm in the future. While working as a teacher, he also puts effort into volunteer activities on weekends. Difficult. This math problem was so difficult that no one in the class could solve it. Difference. The accumulation of small efforts will create a big difference in the future. Different. He has a completely different personality from his brothers, and is very sociable. Calligraphy. She has studied traditional Japanese calligraphy, and is passionate about writing beautiful characters. Really? He looked really surprised when he heard the news. Billion. The IT company's market capitalization finally surpassed $100 billion last year. Million. The famous singer's new song was played over 1 million times just 1 week after its release. Familiar. The melody of the song was somehow familiar and brought back nostalgic feelings. Limited. This product is a limited edition and will sell out quickly. Image. The company has established a clean brand image through its environmental protection activities. Minutes. He skillfully summarized the main points of the discussion in minutes, so as not to disrupt the progress of the meeting. Dinner. Enjoyed a lavish dinner at a fine restaurant to celebrate their wedding anniversary. Beginning. At the beginning of anything, setting clear goals is the first step to success. Finish. The marathon runner mustered his final strength and finally finished the race. Opinion. It's important to have your own opinion, but it's equally important to listen to the opinions of others. Continue. Although it was raining heavily, they decided to continue the game. Mirror. Before going out, he checked in the mirror to make sure his clothes were in order. Period. Many fossils from the period when dinosaurs lived have been discovered in this stratum. Experience. Volunteering overseas was a valuable experience that he couldn't replace. Electricity. The storm downed power lines, cutting off electricity to the entire city. History. He pored over old documents in the library to research the history of his hometown. Artistic. She showed artistic talent from an early age and won many art exhibitions. Traditional. They had their wedding in the traditional manner handed down from their ancestors. Condition. He continued training under strict conditions and finally won the tournament. Tradition. In this village, festivals based on traditions that have been passed down for hundreds of years are carefully preserved. Delicious. The home-cooked meal she cooked for me was the most delicious I have ever eaten. Little. Every day he continues to work steadily, little by little towards his goal. Illiterate. In developing countries, there is an urgent need to provide support to illiterate people who have been deprived of educational opportunities. City. He decided to leave the quiet countryside and work in the bustling city. Pretty. The garden is filled with colorful and pretty flowers. Given. The goal is to achieve the best possible results under given conditions. River. A beautiful river flows through the center of the city, making it a place of relaxation for the citizens. Visitor. The museum receives many visitors from all over the world on weekends. Visit. I plan to use my summer vacation to visit some old temples in Kyoto. Busy. He is extremely busy from morning to night preparing for a new project. Decision. When making important decisions in life, you should take your time and think things through calmly. Rid. He threw out everything unnecessary and rid the room of everything. Midnight. He was so absorbed in his work that before he knew it, the clock had struck midnight. With. Even when faced with difficulties, he faced them with courage. If it rains tomorrow, the field trip will be cancelled. Signal. Although it was foggy, we could clearly see the signal coming from the lighthouse in the distance. Bridge. The huge suspension bridge serves as an important bridge connecting the two islands. Pick. Picked a basket full of fresh strawberries from her garden. Quick. He was going to be late, so he walked quickly to the station. Sick. He had a severe headache and felt nauseous, and was sick today and took the day off work. Picture. To preserve the memories of his trip, he took pictures of the beautiful scenery with his camera. Quickly. He wrote the report quickly to meet the deadline. Dictionary. Whenever he reads a paper in a foreign language, he always has a dictionary at hand to look up the meaning of words. Fix. I tried to fix the broken faucet myself, but it only made things worse. Strict. My father was very strict about etiquette and forbade talking during meals. Fill. She filled up the glass with cold water to quench her dry throat. Hill. From the top of the gentle hill, you can get a panoramic view of the entire village. Still. It was raining heavily outside, but inside the house it was surprisingly still. Until. He stayed in the office and continued working until the job was finished. Build. He dreams of one day building a house of his own design. Silk. This scarf is made from the finest silk and feels incredibly smooth against the skin. Film. On his days off, he likes to watch his favorite old films at home. Gym. To stay healthy, he goes to the gym every day after work. Begin. When starting a new project, the entire team reaffirmed their goals. Win. He endured the rigorous training and finally achieved his long-awaited victory at the national tournament. Within. To be successful, it's important to believe in the possibilities that lie within you. Injure. The violent collision left him with a back injury and forced him into hospital. Instance. He cited several concrete success instances to support his claims. Interested. He has been interested in space since he was a child and hopes to become an astronaut in the future. Interesting. This book offers a very interesting perspective that captures the issues of modern society in a sharp way. Interest. He has had a strong interest in astronomy since he was a child. Since. Has been working at the same company in this city since he graduated from college. Bring. Please remember to bring a copy of the report that each of you has prepared to tomorrow's meeting. Finger. She ran her finger across the map and confirmed her destination. Extinguisher. A fire extinguisher was placed near the kitchen in case of a fire. Think. To solve the difficult math problem, he closed his eyes and thought deeply. Extinction. If environmental destruction continues, many wild animals will be at risk of extinction. Lip. His lips were dry from nervousness, so he continued his speech, moistening them with his tongue several times. Trip. He tripped over a tree root that was sticking out into the road and nearly fell. Beer. For him, the best way to relax is with a cold beer after work. Here. I could hear the church bells ringing in the distance. Here. I've lived here for over 10 years and I really love the atmosphere here. Year. He undergoes a medical checkup once a year to check the state of his body. This. I have every confidence that this new project will be a success. Wish. When she spotted the shooting star, she secretly wished in her heart for her future success. Bit. He seems to have been a bit unwell since last night. Hit. The new song was a huge hit upon its release, reaching #1 on the charts. I was looking for the book and finally found it under the desk. Sit. My hobby is to sit on a park bench and enjoy reading at my leisure. Give. He gave his wife a beautiful necklace for her birthday. Medicine. When you are unwell, it is important to follow your doctor's instructions and take the prescribed medicine correctly. Already. By the time he arrived at the venue, the meeting had already started, and most of the seats were taken. Already. By the time he arrived at the venue, the meeting had already started, and most of the seats were taken. Ready. He was in a ready state to depart at any time and was waiting for the contact. Ready. He was in a ready state to depart at any time and was waiting for the contact. Feather. The rare bird had beautiful feathers that changed color depending on how the light hit them. Together. We worked together as a family to solve this difficult problem. Weather. I refrained from going out because the forecast predicted the weather would get worse on the weekend. Definitely. He was definitely convinced that the plan would succeed and was full of confidence. Definitely. He was definitely convinced that the plan would succeed and was full of confidence. Second. He was second in the race, but he renewed his personal best. Umbrella. He always keeps a folding umbrella in his bag in case of sudden rain. Celebrate. A grand parade was held throughout the city to celebrate the team's victory. Relatively. This winter, relatively warm days have continued compared to last year. Relatively. This winter, relatively warm days have continued compared to last year. Development. The government has injected funds to promote the economic development of the region. Spelling. In an English test, even if the meaning is correct, you won't get any points if the spelling is incorrect. Chemical. This factory produces a variety of chemical fertilizers to help crops grow. Memory. He still cherishes the memory of the beautiful scenery he saw during his trip. Memory. He still cherishes the memory of the beautiful scenery he saw during his trip. Enemy. The two countries had been at war for many years, but they finally cooperated to confront a common enemy. Many. Many people gathered at the venue to catch a glimpse of his lecture. Anywhere. With a passport and a credit card, you can go anywhere in the world. Anyway. He knew he would be opposed, but he pushed his opinion through anyway. Anyway. He knew he would be opposed, but he pushed his opinion through anyway. Weapon. Although they hoped for a peaceful resolution, they were ultimately forced to take up weapons to defend themselves. Terrible. Last night's massive earthquake has caused terrible damage all over the city. Ceremony. The graduation ceremony was held as scheduled in a solemn atmosphere. Very. It was very cold this morning, so I went out wearing a thick coat. Married. After a long relationship, they got married last month in the presence of their relatives. Narrow. We carefully drove along the narrow road, which was just wide enough for one car to pass through. Necessary. Daily effort and patience are necessary elements to achieve success. Festival. In the summer, the city hosts a grand festival featuring traditional music and dance. Yesterday. He checked the contents decided at yesterday's meeting in detail once more. Yesterday. He checked the contents decided at yesterday's meeting in detail once more. Domestic. She prefers domestic trips around Japan's hot spring resorts to overseas travel. Metal. Car bodies are made of lightweight, durable metals such as aluminum. Letter. She wrote a long letter to her friend living far away, describing recent events. Heaven. She believes that her beloved dog, who passed away, is now running around happily in heaven. Clever. He is very clever and immediately finds solutions to any complex problem. Clever. He is very clever and immediately finds solutions to any complex problem. Ever. He felt an emotion unlike anything he had ever experienced before. Ever. He felt an emotion unlike anything he had ever experienced before. However. He did his best, but however, the result was not satisfactory. However. He did his best, but however, the result was not satisfactory. Never. He has never broken a promise and is highly trusted by his friends. Never. He has never broken a promise and is highly trusted by his friends. Heavy. He carried the heavy box containing many books upstairs by himself. Several. He saw several kinds of fruit in the refrigerator and wondered which one to eat. Everyone. I want to share this great news with everyone here. Everywhere. In spring, colorful flowers bloom everywhere in the park. President. The company's president announced a new vision for the next generation. Desert. He never deserted his comrades when they faced difficulties. Resident. Local residents are in favor of the proposed new park. Pleasure. She feels the greatest pleasure in sharing a delicious meal with her friends. Pleasure. She feels the greatest pleasure in sharing a delicious meal with her friends. Treasure. The old temple houses precious treasures that have been protected for centuries. Treasure. The old temple houses precious treasures that have been protected for centuries. Ahead. A steep mountain path lies ahead, so you need to be very careful. Bread. He enjoyed freshly baked, fragrant bread and coffee for breakfast. Dead. He found a dead bird lying on the roadside and felt sorry for it. Head. As the head of the organization, he carefully listened to the opinions of the members. Instead, he decided to drink green tea for his health instead of coffee. Lead. With his excellent leadership, he led the team to victory and received praise. Said. He said, "I will definitely go tomorrow," but he never showed up. Spread. The rumor spread throughout the town in an instant, causing confusion. Headache. A series of problems just before the deadline is a major headache for project leaders. Leg. He fell during a soccer game and broke his right leg. Leg. He fell during a soccer game and broke his right leg. Vegetable. By incorporating fresh vegetables into your daily diet, you can maintain a healthy body. Breakfast. In order to live a healthy life, I try to eat a nutritious and balanced breakfast every morning. Effective. The new advertising campaign was so effective that sales soared. Effect. Lack of sleep has a big impact on your work performance the next day. Collect. His hobby is collecting rare stamps from around the world. Correct. Please double-check that there are no errors in your calculations, and make sure they are correct before submitting. Protect. A new nature reserve has been established to protect endangered species. Respect. He is polite to everyone and earns deep respect from those around him. Subject. He is knowledgeable in all areas of science, but particularly enjoys the subject of physics. Farewell. A group of colleagues gathered together to throw a big farewell party for their retiring boss. Sell. He makes a living by selling the fresh vegetables he grows at the market. Smell. The sweet smell of flowers drifting from somewhere announces the arrival of spring. Tell. Stop lying and tell me the truth about what happened. Well. He is in such good health that he plans to take part in tomorrow's marathon. Shelter. To protect themselves from the sudden storm, they sought shelter in a nearby cave. Shelter. To protect themselves from the sudden storm, they sought shelter in a nearby cave. Healthy. He never skips a balanced diet and exercise to maintain a healthy body. Held. An important conference on the theme of international peace will be held in Tokyo next week. Himself. He accomplished the difficult task by himself without anyone's help. Himself. He accomplished the difficult task by himself without anyone's help. Help. If you see someone in trouble, it's important to extend a helping hand without hesitation. Else. If there is no other way, we need to ask someone else for help. Health. Even in the midst of busy days, you should not neglect to take care of your health. Remember. He still clearly remembers the fun memories he spent with his family when he was a child. Temple. Every morning he goes to an old temple in his neighborhood to pray for health and peace for his family. Again. It's important not to give up after one failure, but to keep trying again until you succeed. Then. I'm going to the library first, then I'm going to meet my friend at the cafe. When she plays the piano, the room is filled with beautiful sounds. Yen. After returning from a trip abroad, I exchanged any leftover foreign currency for yen at the airport counter. Century. This building was built in the 18th century and conveys the architectural style of that time to the present. Century. This building was built in the 18th century and conveys the architectural style of that time to the present. Independence. After many years of struggle, the country finally won its independence from other countries. Expensive. Living in the city center is very expensive with high rents and prices. Attention. The teacher drew the student's attention to an important mathematical equation, written on the board. Gentle. She has a very gentle personality and treats everyone with courtesy. Sentence. The judge gave the defendant a harsh sentence of 10 years in prison. Enter. He entered the room where the interview was taking place with a nervous look. Inventor. Edison, a great inventor, completed the light bulb after numerous failures. Entrance. The building's grand entrance is lined with beautiful marble columns. Elementary. He noticed the elementary mistake in the problem and corrected it immediately. Attend. He attended the annual international conference to grasp the latest industry trends. Depend. Our success depends on how much all team members can cooperate. Extend. He decided to extend his stay by 1 week because he wanted to travel more in this country. Lend. Seeing his friend in trouble, he willingly lent him travel expenses. Spend. He spent a lot of time reading and studying to make it a meaningful vacation. Invent. He invented revolutionary new tools to make everyday life more convenient. Meant. What she said was never meant to hurt you. Sent. She sent a heartfelt message card to her friend for her birthday. Went. After work, she went to a restaurant to have dinner with a friend. Step. He walked up the stairs step by step until he finally reached the roof. Exception. The general rule is that everyone must participate, but exceptions are permitted for health reasons only. Accept. He admitted his mistake and sincerely accepted the harsh criticism from those around him. Aware. He is very aware of how his words affect those around him. Care. He always shows great care for the people around him. Share. Don't keep your great ideas to yourself. Share them with your team. Square. The vast square in the center of the city attracts many tourists. Tear. He was so frustrated that he tore the manuscript he had just finished in two. There. He noticed his friend standing there around the corner and gave him a big wave. Unfair. It is extremely unfair to not receive fair recognition for your abilities. Wear. In the winter, he wears the warm woolen sweater his grandmother knitted for him. Where? I'm looking through brochures and considering where I should go on my next vacation. Airline. He booked a ticket for his overseas business trip with a major airline with a good reputation for service. Airport. After a long journey, he finally arrived at his destination airport and breathed a sigh of relief. Airplane. He was looking out the window at an airplane flying across the blue sky, leaving a white streak behind it. Scared. Surprised by the sudden darkness, he stood frozen, scared like a child. Guess. Try to guess how many candies are in the jar. Less. For good health, you should try to eat more vegetables and less sugar. Success. Hard work and perseverance are the keys to professional success. Successful. After many years of hard work, he finally made his business a successful one. Arrest. Police finally succeeded in arresting a highly wanted criminal after years of pursuit. Nest. In spring, many birds build nests under the eaves and begin raising their young. Rest. After strenuous exercise, it is important to get enough rest to allow your muscles to recover. Fresh. Every morning, we prepare our dishes using fresh vegetables delivered from the market. Forget. No matter how busy you are, you should never forget to be grateful. Get. He went to the library to get the information he needed. Let. Lets his children do what they want. Let. Lets his children do what they want. Wet. I was caught in a sudden rain shower and my clothes got completely wet. Yet. He knows the flaws in the plan, but he still intends to go ahead with it. Death. He spent his life advocating for peace and passed away peacefully.